Caitlin Clark is out, and now the WNBA has a challenge ahead, keeping the audience interested without her. With her gone, they're back to half-empty arenas and games that people aren't paying much attention to. It's going to be tough to fill those seats when the one player who is holding the league together has moved on. The league had one job: support your star, appreciate her talent, and let her shine. Instead, they let her slip away.
What I am upset about is like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season.
Now, you're left with players that no one's going to watch and games that aren't even worth a second look. Well done, WNBA. You've just driven away the one player who put you on the map. Now, you're back to square one, with no respect, no viewers, and no hope. Good luck with that.
We're not watching anymore now that Caitlin is eliminated. Hilarious. See you next season. We ain't watching anymore.
I'm done with the WNBA. Caitlin Clark hit her breaking point on September 29th, 2024, and honestly, I don't blame her. This league never appreciated her from the start. The Indiana Fever somehow made it to the playoffs, only to be knocked out by the Connecticut Sun, 87-81. But guess what? Clark was out there giving it her all, scoring 29 points, dishing out 10 assists, and grabbing 7 rebounds, practically carrying the entire team on her back. It was like she was the only one who realized they were fighting for a championship. And her teammates? They might as well have been napping on the bench. What else could explain this mess?
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie.
Look, I'm fed up. Kelsey Mitchell, you're supposed to be the key player, right? So why on earth were you shooting a miserable 3 for 12 and practically gifting the ball to the other team? That's not just bad. It's embarrassing. And Victoria Vivians, you're a veteran. How are you missing wide open shots and going 2 for 10? Seriously, 2 for 10? And Tammy Fagbenel? She's out there stumbling around like she doesn't even know where she is, looking lost on the court.
Caitlin Clark is Kunta Clark. She's the actual slave that everybody else is exploiting for their benefit. Angel Reese included at the top of that list.
Tammy, you couldn't even manage the shot clock properly, committing a ridiculous violation when we needed momentum the most. Honestly, you might as well have gift-wrapped the ball and handed it to Connecticut, saying, "Here, take the game. We don't want it." Meanwhile, Caitlin's out there grinding for a full 40 minutes. No rest, no breaks. Playing with more intensity than anyone else on the court. And what's her reward? Getting tackled like she's in a WWE match.
Caitlin Clark was assaulted yesterday in her very first playoff game in the WNBA.
The refs might as well have been eating popcorn because they didn't call a single foul. Caitlin even pointed it out herself.
Clark even said it herself.
She struggled with physical defense she's faced at the professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me. And opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlin Clark said.
Well, no kidding. The refs were practically blindfolded out there. It felt like Caitlin was playing basketball while everyone else was playing rugby. And don't even get me started on how the WNBA treated her. This league should have been begging her to stay. From the moment she stepped on the court, she's been the only reason anyone wanted to watch. Indiana Fever games used to be a joke. I could count the audience on one hand. But once Clark showed up, the place was packed with 15,000 fans, and jersey sales skyrocketed. Every game became a must-watch. And what did they do? They slapped her with technicals for showing passion and labeled her a problem player. Are you serious? She's literally the only reason people cared about your games, and this is how you treat hers.
She's just not built for the physicality of this league. And she's not quick enough to get away from the physicality.
The WNBA is on the brink of financial disaster. And guess what? It's their own fault. During Caitlin Clark's rookie season alone, she brought in over 500,000 fans. Yeah, you heard that right. 500,000 fans. That's more than any rookie in the league's sad history, boosting attendance by an incredible 400%. Just think about it. The Indiana Fever games went from a dismal 3,000 fans per game to a lively 15,000. It's like going from a local high school scrimmage to a packed stadium.
If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl, milk it!
She brought a 60% increase in ticket sales, all thanks to her. Caitlin transformed that place from a ghost town into the hottest ticket in town. And it wasn't just about filling seats. Oh no. Clark was a TV ratings powerhouse. When the Fever faced off against the New York Liberty, over 1.8 million people tuned in.
There were regular season games this season where Caitlin Clark drew more than 1.8 million viewers. However, I hope Kat Engelbert is ready for disappointment because there's a hell of a lot more of it on the way.
That's right. Caitlin's games were attracting more viewers than some NBA matchups. Do you realize how crazy that is? The WNBA, a league that people often consider background noise, suddenly had more viewers glued to their screens than during a primetime NBA game, all because of her.
Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoffs.
Let's talk about money, because that's where it really hits hard. Caitlin's presence alone brought in over $5 million in ticket sales for the Indiana Fever this season. That means every time she stepped on the court, the Fever were practically printing cash. But now that she's leaving, they can say goodbye to all that revenue. Every single dollar she generated is going to disappear just like that. They'll be left clutching an empty wallet, watching their gold mine pack her bags and book a one-way ticket to Europe.
Important that we point this out. One of the things that I brought up this morning in talking about Caitlin Clark is that some of the players, you want to use the word jealousy, fine. You want to use the word envy, fine.
So what's next? The WNBA is facing a financial meltdown of epic proportions. Ticket sales are about to take a nosedive, viewership is going to drop sharply, and at this rate, they'll be lucky to keep the lights on. And as for merchandise, good luck selling any of that without your top star in the picture. They've gone from having a gold mine to a complete disaster, and the fallout is going to be catastrophic.
No foul. Please let this be the last quarter of WNBA basketball for me until next season. I can't take anymore. No worries, the season's over.
And then there's the ridiculous talk about race. Some of these so-called players had the nerve to claim that Caitlin only gets attention because she's a white girl in a sport dominated by black athletes. What nonsense! She's out here scoring exceptional points in playoff games, and they want to make it about skin color.
Those guys, they're the racists, when really, y'all are the racists. The people coming up with excuses to hate Caitlin Clark and the new fan base that she brought.
No, it's called being the best. But hey, this is the WNBA, a league that can't seem to recognize their brightest star, even when she's practically lifting their sorry reputation out of the dumpster.
The Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
Oh, and let's talk about the abusive players. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Angel Reese. Throwing cheap shots and elbows, then running to Instagram like a petty high school bully because you can't handle being schooled on the court. And did the league do anything? Nope. They let her get away with it, as if they're allergic to enforcing their own rules. It's pathetic. Caitlin should have been the one they protected, but instead, they threw her to the wolves.
But if you're not delivering the product and you're not making the revenue and you're not, giving people the entertainment that they want, then you're not going to make any money and your league is going to suck.
And of course, we have the league's goons. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Dananna Bonner and Natisha Heedman. They came running like it was some kind of open season hunting trip. These two are known for their rough, borderline dirty defensive play, but this time they took it to a whole new level. They were out there auditioning for a wrestling match instead of a basketball game, shoving and knocking Caitlin around like it was a no-rules street brawl. And where were the refs? Probably chilling on the sidelines with a bag of popcorn, because they sure as hell weren't on the court doing their job. But wait, it gets even better. You know who else decided to join the Let's Abuse Caitlin party? Dejanay Carrington. She went full savage, literally jabbing Clark in the eye like they were squaring off in a UFC cage.
And this woman swats at the basketball and somehow decides to turn her hand down and her fingernails and jab them right into the eye of Caitlin Clark. No foul call. No refs stopping the game to go look. Is this a flagrant? None of that. Just everybody moved on.
Caitlin was left stumbling back, practically blinded and holding her face in pain. And guess what? The refs didn't even blink. No foul, no flagrant. They just stood there, pretending that poking someone in the eye is now part of the game. What's next? Body slams? Steel chairs? Because it sure looked like a low-budget WWE match out there. These refs weren't just missing calls. They were straight up allowing a brawl to happen while pretending to officiate.
Your biggest star, your meal ticket, the reason why you have relevancy, just got stabbed and assaulted and nothing.
But hey, this garbage treatment isn't anything new. Clark has been getting wrecked all season. Let me remind you, she's been hit with 6 technical fouls, which is more than any other rookie. And for what? Showing some fire and passion? Meanwhile, other players are out there throwing elbows, pushing and slapping, treating her like a tackling dummy. And what happens? Nothing. No whistles, no calls, no consequences. These refs act like they're officiating a boxing match, where Clark is the only one not allowed to hit back. Honestly, if breathing too hard were a technical foul, Clark would have been ejected before the tip-off.
It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wrong face for this league because her fans are so racist. Where have I heard this argument before? Oh, Donald Trump may be fine, but all the MAGA people, they're terrible. They're the deplorables.
Honestly, it's not even subtle. The WNBA's officiating is a complete joke. These clowns wouldn't last 5 minutes refereeing a little league game, let alone a professional one. They can't handle intensity, and they wouldn't recognize an obvious foul if it had a neon sign pointing at it. They definitely have no clue how to protect their star player. If the league had even a shred of common sense, they'd fire these incompetent refs and hire people who actually know the difference between a basketball game and a bar fight.
That was on purpose. Is Caitlin Clark making too much of it? Is she exaggerating it, trying to get the call? You can think both things. You can think, hey, this is on purpose and it's a dirty play. But you could also think, is Caitlin Clark making too much of this?
Right now, these refs are more lost than Clark's so-called teammates when it comes to showing up on the court. Seriously, if I wanted to watch a backyard brawl, I'd head down to a local pub, not a WNBA game. But I guess that's where we are, huh? By letting her get mugged on the court while these refs take a nap, it's just pathetic. No wonder she's done. She doesn't need to stick around for this kind of nonsense. Let's see how the WNBA plans to keep those fans without the one player who made them relevant. Good luck filling those empty seats now.